From Mamma Mia, welcome to The Spill, your daily pop culture fix. I'm Laura Brodnick.
And I'm Em Burnham.
Do you want to tell people what just happened, or can I get straight into it?
Okay, Spill is, before we start each episode, to sync up the microphones to the cameras, we have to do a synchronized clap, so we count down from 3 and then
It's
clap
harder
together.
than it looks.
I was clapping quite close to our mic, which is quite beautiful, but I scratched my hand and now my hand hurts and I think it might stop bleeding.
1, 2, 3.
I cut my hand on the mic.
Sorry.
I need Michael to bring me a bed.
Wait, did Claire do that as well?
Look at my
Is it bleeding?
skin. Not yet.
So if Em disappears midway through the episode and you just hear me monologuing, it's because she's left to seek mental attention.
It's just put me in a mood
Oh
now.
my God, you're such a drama queen.
I
You're
was so
fine.
excited for this episode and now
Well, you
I'm
should
not.
be excited because watch me bring it back around and ignore your pain and suffering. You should be excited because we have been waiting months and months and months, years if you go from season 1,
Years, if you
to
will.
do this episode, because this is our brutally honest review of The Summer I Turned Pretty season 3, the final episode.
The final countdown. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. Should I sing the whole song?
Absolutely. We've got nothing but time now that you're injured.
The Summer I Turned Pretty. What a title, firstly.
Yeah, I mean, just really.
Do you remember the summer you turned pretty?
I'm still waiting. I know everyone makes that joke, but I 100% am still waiting.
I know the summer I turned pretty.
When was that?
2018.
Oh, what was the catalyst for that?
I turned 21
Yep.
and
A hot age, it should be
a
said.
hot age.
As Belly knows.
And I think that was just like where I was like, oh, I can do so many things with these tits.
Yeah. That's when you realize
That's when you
they're not a
realise.
hindrance. They're actually super
Yes,
helpful.
when you're like, oh, I actually like these now.
I just would never turn pretty in summer. Like, that's why I left North Queensland
Yes.
where I grew up.
I feel like you turn pretty during winter and then
Thank
it's
you.
like and then you happen in summer. You know what I mean? That's what you do.
Yeah. No, I look horrendous in summer. So that's my guess when I say that I'll be going off this pod soon. I'm joking. Anyway, the summer I turned pretty.
Summer I turned pretty.
Oh, I knew this was going to be a wild ep. Strap in, guys. The Summer I Turned Pretty, based on Jenny Han's best-selling trilogy of the same name. She's also the showrunner of the season and basically the woman behind this whole worldwide explosion of Team Conrad, Team Jeremiah that we've all been living through and survived the last couple of months. We started the 3rd and final season many months ago.
Yep.
The finale aired on Wednesday night and we're here to unpack all of it. Obviously, if you're not across our brutally honest reviews, they are packed with spoilers, especially finale, so just be aware of that. So, Emily,
Yes.
we start off the first episode of season 3 with Belly and Jeremiah firmly ensconced in their relationship.
Yes.
How were you feeling in that moment?
I was feeling actually really good about the first episode because I feel like throughout all of the last 2 seasons of The Summer I Turned Pretty, we've just seen Belly be in this love triangle between Conrad and Jeremiah, and we knew that Belly was in a massive relationship with Conrad in high school, and then that didn't end too well for either of them. But we've never actually seen on TV her being in a relationship.
Yes.
It was always like either coming out of a relationship and we were seeing kind of like flashbacks of what it was like.
Yes.
But we never actually got a storyline relationship with her until the first episode of this season.
Oh, okay. I hadn't actually thought of it that way because in my mind, this girl has never been single. But you're right. We're seeing it all in flashbacks and like little fragments of the relationship starting. So we see them and then we have a time jump, which I thought was interesting, is that we see her getting to college and you can see Laurel is just like, please don't go to college with that boy who's basically your brother attached to you. But they stay together for the 4 years of college and then we're coming into Jeremiah's final year and we kind of see where the pieces of this puzzle have landed. So we have Jeremiah and Belly have stayed together all through college. Not great for them. Jeremiah then finds out that he can't graduate on time. Classic Jeremiah.
Classic Jeremiah. As Adam would say.
Yeah, as Adam would say. Oh my God, I'm doing that thing where I'm now of the age where I side with the parents. I'm like, Adam is like right to be disappointed in Jeremiah and Laurel is right to say they shouldn't get married.
Oh, Laurel is 100% my favorite
Susanna's
character.
the only outlier here telling these kids to do wild things.
Yeah,
before
from the
she
grave.
died. Yes, from the grave. She just loves watching the world burn. She loves watching the mess. Stephen and Taylor, we find out, have been broken up for a while and are both in relationships but secretly hooking up.
Yeah,
and
it sounds like
Conrad,
they've been having an on-again, off-again thing that's very messy, and neither of them are admitting their true feelings for each other.
They're having a secret affair, which in any other teen romance would make them the villains, but in this story, this messed up little world of the Summer I Turned Pretty that we live in makes them our favourite actual slow burn romance.
Yes, I actually really like their relationship.
And Conrad has just removed himself from the situation.
Conrad's busy doing medical stuff.
Yeah, he's busy becoming a doctor.
God, imagine if your doctor looked like that.
Well, I actually think it would be quite dangerous to have him as a doctor, because Conrad constantly, even when he is so happy, constantly has a look on his face that he's about to deliver devastating news. Even when he tells Bella he loves her, he looks like he's telling her that she has a terminal illness. So if that was your doctor, every time you came around the corner, you'd be like, I'm dying. So that man is about to deliver bad news, and he just has resting sad news face.
He has resting sad news face. That is so true. He also makes a lot of mistakes. Yeah. Which I'm also like.
And he's also ruled by his emotions for someone who doesn't say a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, so he probably shouldn't be a doctor.
He's too busy yearning.
He's a yearner.
He's a yearner.
But the thing about a yearner is eventually you've either got to make a move or go and yearn after something else.
Yes. What do you think is the best thing to yearn after?
The best thing to yearn after.
Say you don't have a crush going on right now, but you miss the idea of yearning. What would you yearn after?
I'm just like, I can't. I'm thinking of Quinta Brunson on the Emmys red carpet saying she dreams of rest. I dream of being alone in my home or alone on a beach somewhere. I yearn for loneliness.
Oh,
I'm surrounded by people so much.
Oh my God, that's so true.
What do you yearn for?
I yearn for ocean.
You hate the beach.
I hate beach. I like ocean.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm. You want an ocean filled with no animals.
My ideal ocean would be the full ocean with just like a concrete floor and no animals in the ocean. Like, I basically want a big pool but with like fresh salt water.
I feel like they do have those somewhere. Anyway, speaking of ocean, I was like, I'm desperately trying to keep us on track here. Speaking of ocean, no one has been back to the Cousins Beach house.
No one's been back.
That's right. They don't.
It's a bit too sad after Susanna.
It's a bit too sad after Susanna's passing. Also, the whole Belly and Conrad situation.
Yeah, awkward.
But we do find out that Belly and Conrad had a bit of a secret hookup over Christmas in the cousins' house.
They didn't
the early
hook
part of the
up.
Season. Well, no, they
were there and they didn't even talk to each other.
They had an. You know how like you emotionally cheat on someone, it's worse than physically cheating? They have an emotional hookup.
I don't even think they did that. You know what they did?
What?
They had a relationship, a non-physical relationship in that house for that one day. Like the scenes from that moment of them being in the cousin's house together without realizing they were going to be there together over Christmas was so like typical of the most comfortable relationship. Yeah. Like her just being on her laptop watching a movie, him just sitting on the couch doing the crosswords, like being comfortable in each other's silences and still being together. I think that was so well done because it just showed how comfortable they would be if they were in a relationship together.
Yes. It kind of shows
even though they didn't do anything.
That's the whole thing of true intimacy, light, is like the person. I always think the most romantic thing I've ever heard is this podcaster I love saying that when she met her husband, she felt like she was alone. And when she says that, she means that she's so comfortable in their home together with him that it's the same comfort she's felt being alone. And I can say that's the only reason I'd fall in love with someone.
That. Was it Caroline O'Donoghue?
No, it was Pandora Sykes from
yes.
the Hilo.
Oh my God. God, that's such a good statement.
So that's when I kind of thought you're right about them being in the house together. They had that comfort together. So,
but he did pick her up from the ground when she fell.
I think that's
Jenny Han loves a fall.
Oh, does she?
Yeah, she loves having her like female characters just be on the ground in the most perfect way.
You need a link to that. What's your reference?
To All the Boys I Loved Before.
Okay, yes.
Where Lara Jean just like faints.
Yeah.
And like her hair's in like the most perfect ponytail and then Peter Krasinski's like hovering over her.
Yeah.
And then I think she falls a few times. And also Kitty in XO Kitty falls.
Yeah, I think it's in her heart, Jenny Han. And she said that
women
she loves
fall in beautiful ways.
Well, yes, women fall in beautiful ways, which is a classic rom-com trope and a classic old school Hollywood of the clumsy yet
Kaling loves a fall.
Yeah. Again, anyone who grew up watching rom-coms loves a clumsy yet beautiful heroine. So
I don't fall like that though.
Oh no, if I fall, I would like crush everyone around me and no one would be able to get me
I fell
up.
recently and it was quite awkward and very sad looking.
In real life, it's not sexy.
It's not sexy.
That's like when I caught in the rain the other day. I'm like, in a rom-com romantic, in real life, bad hair.
We need Jenny Han to teach us how to fall.
Yeah. So we're sort of seeing where all these puzzle pieces are. I'm really trying to keep us on track with this. I knew this would be an unhinged episode. And of course, all this, the whole Christmas thing leads to, and a few bumps in Jeremiah and Belly's friendship leads them to taking something that rom-coms and TV shows have taught us is always a bad idea, going on a bit of a break, but not establishing the rules before the break, where she thinks they're sort of still together and he thinks that they are broken up. And so he acts out.
He acts out into someone else.
Yeah. What's her name? They say it so many times.
Lacey Barone.
That's right. Because when Stephen finds out, he's like,
Lacey Barone? He cheated on her with Lacey Barone? Who the fuck is Lacey Barone?
I mean, they did make Lacey Barone out to be a villain. Because remember at the party,
she was not a villain.
Yeah, no, but they kind of make her out that way at the party. Is like she kind of, like she's gossiping about it, and that's how Belly finds out. In another story, Lacey Barone is the hero, and she she falls in love with this guy only to find out he's in love with the girl he's about to propose to.
Because I would watch The Summer I Turned Pretty season 1 and 2 going, oh my God, I wish I was Belly. And then we got to season 3 and I was like, I'm Lacey Barone.
Sometimes we all have a Lacey Barone.
If I was in that show, I'd be Lacey Barone.
Sometimes
everyone hates. I'm like, I had sex with a single man. Yeah. What do you want from me?
And twice. It wasn't like it was a mistake.
Yes,
he did it twice.
He did it twice.
I want the Summer I Turned Pretty spin-off starring Lacey Barone. Because that's happened to all of us at some stage. You think you're in a love story only to find out you're actually a footnote in someone else's love story.
You know what? Lacey Barone should have ended all of these weddings.
Maybe she'll show up in the movie.
Lacey Barone should get the keys to the cousins' beach house.
The movie where they have when the movie comes out, if it's Belly and Conrad's wedding, Jeremiah shows up to the wedding with Lacey Barone.
Oh no!
Plot twist.
She shows up to the wedding with Adam.
Oh, great! Oh my God, great.
Jeremiah.
Jenny Han, please call us before you finish this script.
Because I know both Conrad and Jeremiah would be annoyed with that, and also Belly.
Yeah.
And that's what I want.
And Stephen will be like, who is that?
Stephen's like, who's Lacey Barone? Someone tell me.
Okay, so we have what were your thoughts when you watched the breakup scene with Jeremiah and Belly? Knowing it wasn't going to last, but still.
Yeah, it was very high school for me, which I mean, they've only just come out of high school.
Yeah.
So basically what happens is she finds that they're at this party, this house party. They both had a few drinks. She finds out that Lacey Barone hooked up with Jeremiah when Jeremiah and her were on a break when he was in Cabo.
Yeah.
Kind of it's a really good PR marketing scheme for Cabo.
Yeah.
Because I really want to go now.
Go there to hook up with someone.
Go there and hook up with someone as hot as Jeremiah. And she finds that out. She confronts him. They have a big argument in the front yard. She slaps him.
And her distress, Lola Tung's acting here is so good.
Oh my God, amazing.
Because her distress and like the way it like vibrates through her entire
She was like wailing.
Body, she was, you can really feel that absolute like when you had that first proper big heartbreak. It's almost kind of, you feel like in that moment for her, it's worse than when she had her breakup with Conrad.
Yeah.
Because even though he at the end of the day is her like true love, she'd been with Jeremiah at this point for years. And so...
And it wasn't just a heartbreak, it was a full betrayal.
Having that betrayal,
and like seeing a character assassination happening before you, I think was so poignant as seeing that as such a young person as well. Because I've always feels like something that I've seen like happen to like women in rom-coms like a bit later in life. Not like so early on where like the stakes feel so much higher.
Yeah.
And like she's seeing like she's getting this absolute betrayal, and not just because she was in a relationship with him, but because she knew him as a kid. So it's like knowing someone and thinking you know everything about them and then doing something that you had no idea they were capable of even doing.
Yeah, and especially because it's also the loss of like that childhood kind of innocence and safety that she had.
Yeah.
That's always been the extra layer of heartbreak with this whole love triangle of Belly with the Fisher boys, is that every time she has a breakup or they have like a fractured relationship or any time, it essentially doesn't just end a relationship, it pulls their family apart. And in that moment, that is Belly's, if she thinks she's breaking up with Jeremiah in that moment for good, and that's her last tie to the Fisher family, that's like her family, because she's estranged from Conrad. She's not going to call Adam up to hang out. Susanna's passed away. And so it's like this severing of a family tie, which I think is why towards the end of the season, when the wedding doesn't happen, when Jeremiah has that anguish in the car and says like, I love you, Laurel, when she's getting out. And it's like, yeah, every time your kids break up, you essentially lose a parent or you lose because then he was losing Laurel in his eyes.
Family.
Yeah.
And even
this is why you don't date your kind of sibling.
Don't date your cousins, guys.
Yeah.
And even in that moment when she says, like, during that like heated moment where she's like wailing and she says, you know, I've only been with one other person. And he straight away gets brought back to reality. And he was just like, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's my brother.
Yeah, exactly. It's so interesting too, the whole dynamic between them, because it's been changed so much from the books, and that's all Jenny Han trying to not just make Belly a different character from the books, but she wanted to make it clear from the very beginning that she was always going to choose Conrad. Because in the books, Belly doesn't lose her virginity to either of them.
Yeah.
Instead, they had that flashback sequence where you see Belly lose her virginity to Conrad, and Jenny Han did that very specifically so that people would know that she would always choose him first when given the option, and that she kind of wanted to bring it full circle.
Yeah. I like didn't really agree with that though.
Really?
Like I felt like it was too picture perfect having her have sex with Conrad before Jeremiah. Whereas like I feel like more realistically it would be her having sex with Jeremiah first.
Because they were older.
Yeah, they were older and together longer, and then still end up with Conrad. What I didn't really like about this whole season was I was expecting this real push and pull between the two brothers.
Yeah.
And right from episode 1, because the cheating happened in episode 1, you're immediately on Team Conrad, and you're on Team Conrad for the whole season. Yeah. Literally everyone I've talked to, I haven't met a single Team Jeremiah person from this season.
Yeah, because people who are Team Jeremiah, what they actually mean is I like him, not I think he's going to end up with her.
No, it's like I like him. And I feel like if we had like that, like I think it should have been done in a way where we still see Jeremiah as like a great person and a great option. And I think that he was just made so unlikable and so meme-like that it didn't even feel like it wasn't like a Team Edward, Team Jacob situation.
Yeah.
Where it was like there was both good qualities and bad qualities from each person. So every woman was literally 50-50. Whereas like right now in this last season, it was very much obvious that they wanted Conrad to win. So I think they were scared to gamble with Jeremiah also being a winner.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, again, I've been cancelled for saying this, but I'll say it again, especially in the last episode. I think Jeremiah has a lot of points of redemption throughout this season, but they're not points of redemption that they're making him the main love interest. They're points of redemption that you're supposed to see him as like the valiant offsider who at the end of the day stepped aside for his brother and his true love, and that he was never meant to be with Belly. Yeah. But you're right, Jenny Han from the start from the beginning, but especially towards the end of season 2 through season 3, really wanted everyone to know that she was Team Conrad, because after Conrad sees Jeremiah and Belly kissing for the first time post their breakup, in the book they all do get in the car together, but Conrad ignores them both and won't talk. And so in the book you're kind of meant to think like, oh, he's just out of it. But in the TV show he's kind of like negging at them both a little bit and like calling them out on it and being very vocal. And Jenny Han herself has said, she's like, I wanted you to know from that moment that he was never stepping aside. He was never out of the picture. He's still in the game and he's not going to let it go. Yeah. So the whole way through she was like planting, not even like in a secret way. There weren't even Easter eggs, just like literally slapping you across the face.
She does that so well where she was able to fully analyze what audiences took from each scene in her book and make sure that like the emotions and the feelings she wanted replicated had to be changed to see it visually in the actual series. And I think that car scene where he's like a bit drunk and like making fun of them and stuff was like so different to what his quote unquote normal persona is.
Yeah, absolutely. So from then on, we're going to kind of follow this string through. From then on, we have Steven's car accident. Again, I also loved how they just made...
Steven had a bad rap in this season.
Yeah. But all
he did was like get injured in a car accident and get yelled at.
Yeah, but then at the end, he gets the girl and the business. Yeah. And he came out of it quite well. If we're doing scorecards on where everyone is, he came out of this whole show like shining. So he's not a huge character in the books. They obviously like really wrote him up to be in the TV series and like made his character more fleshed out. And I think his relationship with Taylor actually has. I actually think Steven and Taylor have way more chemistry than Belly does with Conrad.
100%.
Or Belly does with Jeremiah.
I agree, and I also think Taylor's character development in this season was the best out of all the other characters.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I think she is one of the best characters in this show. I didn't really get on with her like she's my friend, in the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And I think she was very much a side character, especially in season 1. And she would just like come to the cousins' beach when she was free. And then in season 3, this final one, she actually got so much more screen time than the previous 2 seasons. And her just being that like adult in that group of friends was just so important. Like her having to be Belly's mum when Belly's mum wasn't there for the wedding, her having to be her mum's mum to like look after her finances, her having to be so in tune with her emotions to know when she can be with Steven and when she can't. Like it was such a mature character to play, and I think she was able to be that kid in season 1 and 2 and was able to then just transition into being an adult in season 3, and I think that was done really well.
Yeah, agree. I think sometimes Belly and Taylor, like Belly sometimes suffers from like a classic mean girl syndrome where she's a bit of a an audience insert. So like you're supposed to be able to insert yourself into her world and you'll almost picture yourself being her so that things happen to those characters. They don't make things happen.
Yeah.
Whereas the side character is there to bring the storyline, the drama. So they often become the more interesting one, the one who gets to have the bigger storylines and the one who grows the most. And we see that like in the OC with Summer and Marissa. We've seen in One Tree Hill with Peyton and Brooke. Like there's so many times like that where sometimes the main girl has to become a bit of the damsel in distress.
Yeah, even Gossip Girl.
Yeah, and Gossip Girl, exactly. Like Blair over Serena becomes the more interesting character. It's because they get to have an arc more so than the main girl's always just torn between two boys.
That's why I wish we had more of Taylor. I wish we had like her across more seasons of being a mainish character. Because this last season also, if you just took out all the scenes with Conrad and Jeremiah and you just showed their friendship, Belly's not a good friend to Taylor.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Like I would hate to be her friend. She's chaotic.
Yeah, she's chaotic and she kind of does sometimes isn't there for Taylor
She's
in the
not there
same way
for
that
her
Taylor
at
is there for Belly.
all. Yeah.
And even though she doesn't agree with the whole getting married thing, she just like after her initial shock at the news, she just throws herself into being the world's best maid of honor, despite the fact that she doesn't think the wedding should be happening. And as someone who's also done that in real life, that's freaking hard to do.
Yeah.
To be like, let me cheer on this wedding. You shouldn't be marrying this guy, but let me cheer you on.
Yeah.
Like it's a huge thing.
And even just going to be with her in Paris and stuff for New Year's Eve for like one night, I think she was there for.
I mean, again, in Paris for one night.
Paris is fine, but I mean, like she loves her with her whole heart. And I think you really saw that through this final season. Yeah. And I was like, this is an uneven friendship.
Do you think moving on to like when they've had the whole like they're getting engaged and they're deciding what to tell everyone, they're going to Susanna's memorial at Cousins Beach, that was the right time to tell the fam about their engagement?
Absolutely not. That was insane. And then she held up her finger and she's like, look. I'm like, no one can see your ring. What are you showing them? Adam was so confused. Laurel was so fuming.
Yeah.
Because we were already angry at that. So they had the memorial. That was fine. But then they had that family dinner at that restaurant that Laurel was like, I'm going to pay for. So we were already as an audience angry because Laurel just said she's paying and then Adam orders the surf and turf and the seafood tower.
Yeah, everyone really thought he was a crazy villain for that. But I don't think it was that bad.
That was horrible. What do you mean?
Okay, if you look at that that screenshot of the menus that everyone was passing around, like there's only like a $30 difference between like what St. Conrad ordered and what Jeremiah ordered. And Laurel said she was paying. No one forced her hand.
No. $30 is a lot of money.
I know I'm saying, but once you're already paying for like a $500 dinner, what's an extra couple of hundred?
Okay.
I'm Team Laurel in the whole show. I can't stress that enough. I'm on that woman's side. But I just think that wasn't quite the huge villainous reveal that people thought it was.
I mean, not gonna lie, Adam is also one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I actually sometimes quite agree with that.
I quite agree with Adam.
He's like these children shouldn't be allowed to behave like this.
Yeah, he is a messy bitch. The fact that he's holding on to Jeremiah and Belly's wedding champagne
and brings out at every opportunity,
brings it out whenever he can, even in places that don't require champagne at all.
Him walking over to their mother's graveside on her funeral, he's like, champagne from your wedding that you didn't have.
I know I'm not invited to the dinner, but I bought champagne from your wedding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so funny with the ring thing because Jenny Han just said that she did not expect that to blow up the way it did, of him having such a tiny ring. And
of him using the wiring of his glasses to make a ring
okay, it's not
while she sleeps.
Hey, that ring has a little diamond in it. the one he gave
Does
her.
it? Couldn't see it.
It's pretty small. If you get right in there, you can see it. But I think that it's fair what Jenny Han was saying. She's like, if he had a big ring, everyone would be like, where did he get the money for that? He doesn't have the money for that. So getting a tiny, if a college student who, yes, comes from a very rich family, but he's, as we find out later, he's also maxed out some credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
Even the
He
tiniest...
didn't max it out on that ring, though.
He definitely didn't. He maxed out all those looks he pulls out over the season.
But then also, like, him getting the tiniest ring and then going, let's go apartment shopping.
Yeah, but that's because they were homeless.
Yeah, but they weren't really. Like, they were in Adam's house. She's just messy.
Yeah, what did you think about that? That's when a lot of people weirdly started to turn on Belly because they're like, wait a second.
Oh, no, I turned on her from the beginning. The beginning.
You were never Team Belly.
I'm never Team Belly, ever.
Oh, come on. Don't you think?
No.
The thing is about Belly, you don't
She's a bad friend. She doesn't know how to date people with no siblings.
She doesn't know how to date people who aren't the Fisher boys.
She doesn't know how to date people with no siblings. She's so mean to her mum.
Yeah. She doesn't know how to clean her hair out of
I
the
don't
drain
even think she knows her dad's name. Because I don't.
Yeah, actually. What is that man's name? You know what? I'm not wasting my brain space on that. I've got
Sorry,
so
guys.
much
We're
else.
not even going to look it up.
No, you know what? I can't put, if I put that into my head and another important fact's going to fall
Yeah,
out, I
something
can't
else
have that.
Also, what happened to Sky?
Who?
Season 2, their cousin, who's not really their cousin.
No. There's no.
Like, what happened to that whole storyline?
Again, that was not in the books, and there's a reason why, because that was boring as hell.
Yeah. Do you think that was them trying to see if there will be a spin-off show in Cousins, maybe, and then they didn't?
No, I just think
when they did that thing for Stranger Things.
I just think that they needed a bigger storyline and villain in season 2, because in the book it's Adam trying to sell the house, and I think that they needed to kind of flesh out a bit more. So they introduced poor Kira Sedgwick. Didn't know she was going to be the most hated woman on TV. Everyone usually loves her.
Kira Sedgwick doing the most to lift the Summer I Turned Pretty season 2 off the ground.
Become the worst. I mean, that was a terrible season. Let's just be honest. But no. Well, Conrad does reference Aunt Julia at one stage.
Yeah. Just to make the connection.
And then they
dusted that off.
I think they say at one stage, oh, Sky and Julia are sad they can't come to the wedding. And I was like, they were just not.
Well, because they didn't have the budget.
Yeah. They're not paying those guest fees.
No. They had to put all that money into Jeremiah's ring.
Yeah.
Can't be inviting family to the wedding.
So we have the engagement announcement, and from then we see Belly's estrangement from her family, having to, again, that's the point when Jeremiah comes into the house and explains to Laurel, brings her flowers and sits her down and tries to explain why he wants to marry Belly, and he's very calm and adult and very kind about it. And I know the bar's so low for men, but that's where it is. That was the first point where I was like, maybe I'm Team Jeremiah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, because that whole like blowout with Laurel and Belly was so intense. And that kind of also made me a bit like, I'm not sure if this is real. Like real.
What do you mean?
Because I'm from an Asian household.
Yeah.
If I spoke to my mum like that, if I was 20, 21 and I went to my mum, like, because she was swearing at her mum.
Yeah.
Like, she was like, fuck you. And then like left and was like, I'm going to go be with this boy. My mum would chain me to my bed and keep me there till I was 40.
Yeah.
Like, that is literally. And then when I was looking, I was like, this is not the Asian household. This is not it. It's
That's
like,
interesting.
I think it was one of those things with, because the show is so massive and Jenny Han is so good at inclusion and using like diverse characters. But I think you also have to gamble with what would the westernized storyline be in this situation. And that was a very much westernized mother-daughter storyline playing out that just wasn't realistic to the Asian culture and like the Asian TVs and shows that I've seen. And I thought that was a bit of a like, oh, it just felt like a cheap way out, like a cheap way to have a fight.
Yeah, you think there should have been, you think that not even Laurel telling her to leave, that doesn't fit either.
It doesn't fit at all. Like, that is not something that she would say.
I guess it's one of those things where sometimes you have to kind of mess things up a little bit just to get your characters to where they needed to be.
And I also feel like they've already had too many, like season 2 where she was like camping out in the house without telling Laurel and they had that massive fight and Laurel slaps her?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was a realistic, like, mother-daughter fight to me. Like, I was like, they made it so real. And I felt like they didn't need to do that again for season 3. Like, it just felt like it was an unnecessary fight. I think what Laurel's character was so good at is, like, being that mum where she loves Jeremiah and loves Conrad, but doesn't want to see her daughter, like, waste away in a relationship.
Yeah.
And the way she even said to her ex-husband.
Yeah.
Where she was like, I don't regret marrying you. I regret marrying at such a young age and losing myself in a relationship at such a young age.
That's the catalyst the whole time for her not wanting to get married. But also, I think there's always something where, like, I think who Laurel is really angry at, but she can't be angry at because she's dead, is Susanna. Because that's her, like, best friend and soulmate, and she essentially set up their children to be together in some way and always really pushed that. And I think Laurel was never super on board with that, but now it's happened and now they're all caught in this web. That's they can't get out
It was always Susanna saying stuff like that, but in the flashbacks, Laurel never said stuff like that.
Yeah, because she's probably like, what do you mean my daughter's going to marry one of your sons?
Yeah, my daughter's 8. Calm down. Like, that's crazy.
Very creepy arranged marriage vibes in this house.
Very creepy. And even the way, like, in the flashbacks with Susanna, where, like, she gives Belly her own room in the cousin's beach house, and, like, she's talking to her, like, as if she is her daughter, and Laura's just in the kitchen cooking.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is really weird vibes.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I definitely understand her looking at her as a daughter. It's her looking as a daughter who's definitely going to marry one of her sons. And again, I think the fact they were all raised as siblings is never really brought up enough.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we get into the depths of planning the wedding, and we see Laurel not want to go wedding dress shopping.
I found that part realistic as like the mum of someone who's really young getting married, where they don't want to be involved at all, or they're like, as like, I think it's like the last hope, right? Of saying, I'm not coming to your wedding as the last hope, like, she won't have this wedding if I don't come.
Yeah, yeah.
And then eventually she has to give in.
Knowing that she has to kind of lean into it. But this is also where we start seeing the seeds be laid for people turning more against Jeremiah, because he becomes a bit of a Groomzilla.
Yeah.
What is it? The double tier chocolate cake with raspberry coulis.
Raspberry coulis glaze, yeah.
He's like, it's we have the cake or the wedding's off, essentially.
Yeah, he's like, that's the one thing I wanted, Belly.
And that's so interesting because doesn't a lot of that happen in the episode we get from Conrad's perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah, where, the Conrad episode.
Yeah, hits his narration and he's like, what have I done?
Yeah. Do you know what's interesting? That is the first episode that Jenny Han directed.
Oh.
And the reason she did that is she said that Conrad is such an internal character. Like, we're never really meant to know what's going on in his mind.
Yeah, he does a lot of, like, silent acting.
Yes, a lot of silent acting, a lot of... I don't know if that actor's doing it on purpose or if he's just dead behind the eyes.
Yeah, a lot of, like looking around.
Yeah, but you're meant to think that there's a whole part of his mind that we never get access to.
Yeah.
So when it came time to let him have his moment of him telling his side of the story, Jenny Han was like, I'm going to step up and direct for the first time because I need to be the one to handle this. Like, essentially, because she created that character, she's the only one who could tell his story and have his POV, which led to her directing, which was a great episode.
And that episode was the best episode of the season, where it's just Belly and Conrad together and he's just helping her with, like, all of the chores and tasks she has to do to get ready for the wedding, because Jeremiah's now working for his dad.
Yes.
And that's where we also
Adam strikes again.
Adam strikes again. And we also
villain.
get introduced to Denise.
Yeah.
And we find out that Adam's in a relationship with Kaylee, who is the woman he cheated on Susanna with, and she's much younger than he is.
I actually felt a bit bad for Kaylee because I feel like she was just weirdly groomed by her boss when she was so young, when she had an affair with Adam, probably not knowing that his wife was dying of cancer.
And she's planning this whole wedding unpaid.
Yeah. And then he's basically like, hey, let's get together. Like, he was maybe hot 10 years ago. Yeah. He's now just a creepy old dude who made her plan his son's wedding and then apparently, like, wasn't like nice to her parents. There's some underlying story there. And I'm so glad she broke up with him.
Imagine hooking up with your boss thinking you're going to get a promotion and yet you get a wedding.
Yeah, you had to plan a wedding and you walk into that room and the mother of the bride and everyone else hates you. And then you have to put up with this creepy man-child who's only caring about how much money he spent on champagne.
And then after the wedding, you go home to, like, your share house with all the girls.
Yeah.
And then you're like, guys, these kids are insane.
Yeah.
This girl was dating this brother, but then she's marrying this brother, but now she told that brother that she loves him and she'll always love him, and now the whole thing's off. And I put in a lot of effort into the wedding.
Yeah, I planned that wedding and they didn't even go, those spoiled brats. Oh my God. The debrief with Kaylee and her friends when she got back to her.
It would be so good. Over some rosé.
I just got a physical pang that I missed that and they're not even real people.
I want a No. And guess what?
What?
One of her housemates is Lacey.
I was about to say the same thing. Please, can we have a spin-off with Kaylee and Lacey?
Perone. We need that. We
the
need them to
winter
be
we
housemates.
turned vengeful or something like that.
The summer we killed 2 brothers. The summer we murdered a family.
R.I.P. the Fisher brothers. Oh my God, that's a story I want of her pulling her suitcase up a 6-flight walk up to go back to her share apartment and being like, dating the old guy was a mistake.
She has all the wedding champagne.
Yeah.
And now the dad wants a champagne back.
Oh my God. Okay, leading into the wedding, we have the rehearsal dinner and the wedding rehearsal itself. And that's the moment that everyone was screenshotting and trying to find secret clues because it looked like Taylor was potentially getting married.
Yeah.
It also, people thought it was a flash forward to Conrad and Belly's wedding, but I actually quite like the way it played out. I mean, again, the whole thing about The Summer I Turned Pretty season 3 is we're watching a show where we know the ending, essentially. Like, even if you hadn't read the book, you know where this is going. So we're not watching it to find out what happens. We're watching to find out how it happens.
Yeah. And the wedding was, I think, so well done because it was so casual.
Yeah.
And like simple. And then in the background, all of this chaos was happening. I think the biggest takeaway from that wedding is how everyone hated Taylor's wet hair look.
Yeah. Well, they're like,
so much that in the next episode where it continued, her hair was in a bun.
Yeah. Because someone was like, don't cut the hair. It's well, everyone's like, her mum's a hairdresser. And then her hair looks like being after I got caught in the rain the other day. Oh my God,
imagine her mum seeing that.
It was a lot. It was a lot. So we have the breakup scene, which is everything I imagined it would be. Not in a good way. It kind of felt like it needed to happen, but it's still that moment where Jeremiah is realizing that even if he does get her down the aisle and she was willing to go, that she'll never actually love him.
Yeah. And we found out about like Christmas and like we found out that he knew about the Christmas thing. And then what I found in that conversation was like what Jeremiah was saying to her was actually quite fair.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I can't like do this. Like you're still in love with my brother. Like I can't do it. And even in a monologue where she says, I know that if I say I still want to get married, he will marry me. And I'm like, that is so true.
Yeah.
Like you could literally say to each, like this girl could like tell each brother at any time in her life, I want to marry you, and they would.
Exactly. And to her credit, she does not abuse that power. Does that make you like her more or do you still hate her?
No, I don't hate her.
Sounds like you hate her. You just listed all the reasons before you hated her.
Yes, I do.
Again, maybe we all see a little bit.
I would have just lied and been like, no, I don't like him.
What, just to get through the wedding so you can go eat that expensive lobster
expensive
starter?
That is? It's such an expensive wedding. Your mum just got around it.
I know.
She's not going to be able to get married ever again now.
Well, she can't. I don't think that's going to happen. Wait for the movie. But no. You can't walk down the aisle towards someone. I know people do it every day, but I feel like you can't walk down the aisle to marry someone if you're like, I don't actually want to marry you.
Yes, you can.
And I think that you shouldn't. History has taught us, and pop culture and the Kardashians has taught us that you shouldn't do that.
You shouldn't do it, but you can.
You can do it. You can. So what did you think of her heading to the airport to Paris?
I thought that was a good decision.
I thought people were being like, I saw like kind of the conversation around it being like, she's crazy, no one would do that. And I actually think in that moment, because in that moment you're like, what can I do to make this like I haven't fucked up my life?
Yeah.
What can I do? And the whole thing about her choosing not to go to Paris was such a huge thing. And she was essentially saying goodbye to her dreams, her independence, the life she could have had, and choosing to marry this boy and live in a little shitty apartment because he had bad credit. And so it was almost like she had this chance to do a make good, but time was of the essence because she had to get on the plane then. So I actually thought it made a lot of sense.
It's also that thing where you do something so embarrassing, like so humiliating that you just need to leave the country.
Yeah.
And
I've wanted to do that so many times.
She physically did that. Like no one in the world has done something more embarrassing than what she did.
Emily.
So she physically had to leave the country.
And I know there was also so much shit talking about Conrad being in the airport. They're like, oh, he's taking a domestic flight and she was taking an international flight and they shouldn't have been in the same airport. And to that I say, let the story happen.
Also, to that I say, American airports are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, they're actually insane.
That actually is another realm of possibility.
No, it's very much real.
So I actually, this is the time I've related to Belly the most when she gets to Paris. Not only because she's messed up. Well, not she has messed up. That poor guy who I think lost his job over this. Who she's not in the program. He messed up. The most I've ever related to Belly Conklin is when she is just, you have this idea of going to this place where you're going to be a new person. Yeah. I think we all have this when we travel, especially when we travel for the first time in our 20s, where you think, I'm going to get to Paris. I'm going to be so like together and mysterious and sexy, and my life's going to look like this. And the reality is that you're dragging your suitcase and your backpack around those freaking cobbled, hard to navigate streets.
Like, wheels are breaking.
And your wheels are breaking, and you're tired and you're dirty and you look gross.
And no one likes you.
And no one wants you there. And you go into a cafe and like even just ordering like a sandwich or a coffee is so hard and you feel stupid.
Yeah.
And then you would let your stuff be stolen from your table. Yeah. And I also had mad respect for her when she chased that guy down with the backpack.
The Paris episodes were my favorite episodes in the entire series. And I was so nervous for them because they were the episodes that happened after the books finished.
Yes.
So the books finished and then we do get 2 more episodes, which are the Paris episodes.
Yes.
I thought they were done so well. It's the first time we're seeing Belly so vulnerable, like out of a safe place. And I think it's exactly what you said, so telling to the idea that so many people, if their life is like gone to shit, it's like absolutely having the worst time. They can't bear living in their life anymore. So they go overseas to start again. And you expect it to be better because your life was so shit. Yeah. And yet it's worse.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she experienced.
Exactly. Yeah. It's they're so well done. I wish we'd had 6 more episodes of this version of Belly and this world.
Because I was so scared we were going to get an Emily in Paris.
Oh, yeah.
Where you get to Paris and everything's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, look, Emily's had her own struggles in Paris.
Okay, but the essence of Emily in Paris is like you go to Paris and everything's amazing.
Yeah, and you meet a hot guy.
Yeah, whereas like Belly goes to Paris.
Belly
and she's
did
like,
all those things. It's just that she works a shitty job.
She works a shitty job. But even like she did all of those things, but you can tell she's still not happy. Like she's still struggling through it. She's still getting through it.
Yeah.
I mean, she gets that beautiful apartment.
Yeah, and I don't
know how she got.
So many people, again, viewers are really angry about that. Like, how could she have that beautiful apartment? And to that, I say, stop policing how women in rom-coms and TV shows afford their beautiful homes. They just can.
I think we just don't like it
it's
because
not realistic.
It's like, why does she get that and I don't?
I know, but also that's the fantasy element.
My
of
apartment,
TV
I'm
and
looking
movies.
into another apartment.
Yeah. I think Emily in Paris's apartment is the most realistic, that you'd have 2 girls sharing a studio apartment in Paris. What I loved about the Paris episodes is that Jenny Han always knew when she started this TV show from the very first episode that she was going to have these Paris episodes at the end.
Did you think Benita was necessary?
Yeah, I think they needed to show her having another romance and even showing her just having sex with someone else so it wasn't just the Fisher boys.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of Jenny Han's kind of master plan all along.
It's like, she's not a freak, I promise.
Yeah. It's fine. In the book, she goes to Spain for a short overseas trip. So Jenny Han wanted to change it to Paris, basically because she wanted to go to Paris. Mad respect. She's like, I'm going to make this work for me. But also she was laying so many Easter eggs all through the series, like Belly reading The Hunger Games in French. Even the name of the book will always have summer is a nod to the famous line from Casablanca, will always have Paris. And there's all these nods all the way through it. And so Jenny Han basically said that she basically backed Prime Video into a corner and said, she's like, the storyline won't make sense unless she goes to Paris because I've been breadcrumbing it all the way through, and that's why they had to have her there.
What I really liked about the first episode we see of her in Paris where she can't speak French that well. Yeah. I think it was so telling.
Relatable.
I think it was so telling to show that she was we learned in the series that she's been learning French and taking French as an elective throughout her high school. So she's meant to be really good at it. Yeah. And then it kind of shows that that's how, like, you visibly see how she lost herself in her relationship with Jeremiah by like physically forgetting how to speak a language that you spent years learning and getting to France and realizing you can't actually speak it.
Yeah. It's like almost like the French language fell out of her head because she shut the door to that part of her life.
Because she thought she would never go.
She thought she'd never go. Oh. So then we're getting into the end now. Oh, the excitement of the final episode. So we have 2 dual storylines happening here. One is happening at the Cousins Beach House, which is so important that we had that story device of the dinner thing being cancelled and them having to go and have this big final moment in the beach house, which I thought was beautiful, and also very important that Belly and Conrad weren't there. What did you think of Jeremiah's, I want to say, Brooklyn Beckham journey of deciding he wasn't going to follow in his dad's footsteps? He was going to become a chef.
Yeah, I quite liked it.
I did too.
I think he deserves like a happy ending. Like, I know everyone takes a piss out of him and like doesn't like how he treated Belly in their relationship and that he was like very much a person that like they were just like, it's weird because I feel like we see Belly as like someone that we put ourselves into. And we're like, we would not like to have a relationship like that with someone like Jeremiah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, he loved her. It was just a different kind of love.
Yeah,
And it wasn't the love that she needed for her personal growth. But it could be the love that Denise needs.
Oh, okay. Let's get on to that. So I actually loved him being a little chef.
Yeah.
I feel like they
a
had
little TikTok famous sexy chef.
Yeah, exactly. That actually, with the way that boy looks, that so fits.
Oh my God.
That so tracks that Taylor would do that for him.
He just needs to stop his eyes from
it was
glowing
nice
like that. Every time a scene of him comes on, I'm like, ah!
Jump scare.
Oh my God, turn the lights down.
I loved him having a skill. I loved him using his hands instead of just being a pretty boy.
He's a smart guy.
A pretty boy nepo baby in his dad's office. So we liked that. The Denise storyline I did not love because very rushed, very unearned. Because I love unexpected love story. It's my absolute favorite.
I love how she goes from being like a bully to being their best friend.
Yeah. I kind of like that for her. I actually thought she and Steven had more chemistry.
They had a lot of chemistry.
But I also didn't love that they weren't together.
I also think Steven has chemistry with everyone.
Yeah, he just does. He's a chemistry-filled boy.
Yeah,
we love him. I felt that it was a rushed
to tie up a happy ending for Jeremiah.
It's almost like the music stopped and they were the two without chairs and they had to just get on the chair together kind of vibe. So yeah, I felt that was a missed opportunity. I don't want to, that's the one criticism I'll say of Jenny Han's world building and storytelling is that I felt that that could have been a great moment for an unexpected love story, which is my fave. A bit of an enemies to lovers, which is also my fave. Instead, it just felt like they were brother and sister all the way through. And then all of a sudden, in the kitchen, he was just so happy his dessert worked out that he wanted to kiss her.
Yeah, his chocolate mud cake.
Maybe his worst.
That he definitely got from Woolies.
Is that the worst thought? It's because they were living together as brother and sister, and he lived like that with Belly, so he just transferred. He can only fall in love with.
Shut up, don't. That's so funny.
He can only fall in love with people he sees first as a sister.
Ew! Don't say that.
God,
That's
I'm not saying
gross.
it. Jenny Han said it.
There's no way. Okay, both of them are so good looking and hot.
Yeah.
There is no way they slept in separate beds that whole time they were living together.
Apparently they did.
There's not.
Their children are going to have such curly hair. Anyway. So we leave them there. I'm actually so glad we're getting the movie because I'm going to go out on a limb and say I hope those crazy kids aren't together. I hope they both hooked up with other people. Stephen and Taylor's relationship comes to a beautiful place. Yep. I think with her being like, I'll give up everything to be with you. I think in any other world that would look like she was giving up her dreams for a guy, but it was more so that she was just being very vulnerable and knowing she could be successful anywhere.
Yeah, and I think she could.
I think she could too.
Yeah,
she was like
smart.
Boston, San Francisco. I'm gonna run my own company anywhere. It doesn't matter.
We see Adam and Laurel's on again, off again husband going on a swingers cruise potentially.
Yeah,
which I hope happens in the movie.
Oh my god, the movie. The movie is
the spin-off.
Spin-off.
The summer I took a swingers cruise.
Please, I don't want to see Adam on a swingers cruise. Jesus.
He brings the champagne. Jeremiah's like, from my wedding?
From land? From my wedding, Dad? What about Adam, like, kind of softcore hitting on Laurel and being like, with that body and your looks, you'll do well on a singles cruise? And I was like, at this stage...
No, you know what that is?
What?
That's a middle-aged man who's just been broken up by a super hot young girlfriend. Yeah. That's exactly what he's doing.
I just also think at this stage, Adam doesn't know who he's hooking up with, who's not. He's like, she's my wife's best friend. We're basically married.
He's like, why are you still in my life? Why is this woman still here all the time? In my house.
In my house, yeah.
He wasn't invited to the dinner. He's like, this is my house.
Well,
and that's what, when Denise was like speaking to him, she was like, thanks so much for bringing this, Adam. You can put them in the back. And he's like, this is my house.
But that was her.
I'm like, that's fair. Like, Denise, don't talk to this man. Like
no, that was her saying to him, I don't work for you anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I've got because they just got the seed funding for their company.
I would never, ever talk to a grown man like that.
I mean, but how good? Haven't you always wanted to, though?
Yeah.
Haven't you always wanted to?
Yeah. If I wasn't scared of that.
You're scared of it all white, right? That's fair. That's fair. Which brings us to the very end of the finale, which is Conrad turning up on Belly's doorstep in Paris.
Oh my God, this messy bitch.
And hey, she's doing nothing. Belly, don't make me defend her. She's living her life in Paris and she's not trying to pull either of those boys in.
Oh, she had a hair transformation.
I actually love that because it's a bit of a nod to a movie I talk about in this podcast all the time, Sabrina, where but the Audrey Hepburn version, which Jenny Han loves. There's
a lot of Audrey Hepburn like scenes in this last episode.
There's a lot of kind of Roman holiday.
Her writing her letter at the balcony.
Yeah, oh, so good. But I also love that it was kind of Belly cutting her hair in her Paris episodes is very much her shedding the the love she had for Jeremiah.
The brothers.
No, not the brothers. No, it's for one brother because Jeremiah had said to her, always keep your hair long. And so she was keeping her hair long for him. And then her cutting her hair off is like her finally acknowledging that they're not together anymore. She should have mailed it back to him. She should have mailed her hair to him.
Crazy.
That's a different TV show. And Conrad saying, I really like your hair is him saying that I'll love any version of you.
Oh,
and knowing they'll be together.
All right.
Okay. And when they're heading off to her birthday dinner, when he comes out with his hairstyle and she does the little ruffle and messes up his hair like he did to her in season 1 is a kind of not only a callback to those early days before they had like properly fallen in love, but kind of a sign to say that she was almost the one who was giving him these little signs of affection, whereas it used to be her.
Yeah.
So many little Easter eggs in there.
Oh my God. And I love like how they got together.
Yeah.
So after the birthday party, they've had a few drinks, they're slow dancing in the streets, and then they kiss. And then they have steamy hot sex in her apartment with the windows open.
Oh, my God. So that sex scene was 10 out of 10.
Very romantic.
It felt so earned. It felt so important. Yeah. It felt like Jenny Han being like, I know what you crazy bitches. Yeah. She goes, I know that. She's
like, I saw you guys watching Bridgerton. I know what you want.
And she's like, I know you crazy adult women in your 30s, 40s and 50s are obsessed with this show and you have forsaken your jobs, lives and families to watch this show. And this is what you wanted. Go ahead and watch it.
Go ahead and watch it.
And we did.
And we did. And then also the like extremely realistic awkward moment after having sex with someone you love when you don't want to show them that you love them was so incredibly done. Like Belly's like I could literally feel her thought process during that moment because it's like you have like steaming hot sex with someone who you absolutely love and you're comfortable with and you've done it before so you know each other's bodies and you know how to feel safe with them, and then you're just lying in bed and you suddenly like reality hits and it starts getting like cold, like you know that 4 a.m. like chill feeling. And then she like gets up and he immediately like freezes and he's like, where are you going?
It's so, but before we get to that though, I actually thought the sex scene was not just for creepy pervs like us to watch and enjoy, but I thought it was this really beautiful kind of signal to the audience that their relationship was a new adult relationship and not their teen relationship. Because if you look at the sex scene where she lost her virginity to him, it's very much like that whole thing of when you have sex for the first time as a teen where it's a little bit awkward, but also she's really shy and vulnerable and he's like more in charge and like, you know, kind of guiding her through it. Whereas in this sex scene, she's kind of like on the stairs, like pulling his hand down. When they get into the bedroom, she pulls herself on top and she's like kissing him and she leans forward to unbutton his pants. So it's this whole thing of showing like she's an adult now, she's taking charge. This isn't some girl who just had to go back to her first love.
Yeah, no, she's been practicing with Benito.
Oh yeah. And she's a woman of the world now.
So she's only broken up with for like 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's fine. Benito will be fine. Benito spin-off in the works.
Benito at his grandma's birthday by himself.
He's like, I want to introduce her to my grandmother. Oh, poor guy. Okay, and then we have just such an incredible callback to these iconic rom-coms that Jenny Han loves, which is the race to stop someone from traveling. It's obviously normally a race through an airport. This time it was a race through a train station to declare your undying love. And this idea that, you know, that's in the movies, it's like if I don't stop this person getting on a plane, then I can't ever be with them, even though you could just call them when they land or you could fly to them when they land. And that this scene had the same urgency, whereas like Belly could have obviously told Conrad this at a different time, but she had to do it then. Like their whole relationship was contingent on her getting to him on that train and telling him right then.
Look.
Okay.
She was meant to be in a rush, right?
Yeah.
Yet.
She put the necklace on.
You know how hard it is to put a necklace on?
I know. I thought about that too.
And not even a necklace. She also put the most hardest piece of clothing on. Jeans. Like she literally looked for that. Like, you know how long it takes me to put my jeans on?
I know. I've seen you put your jeans on. We've got to build a good 15 minutes in.
Necklace.
Yeah. She put a bra on.
She brushed her hair because he liked that.
She wanted to look nice.
And then, oh my God, I was like, were you in a rush? Or did you do a fashion show in your apartment before you left?
Well, maybe she knew the train wouldn't leave for a while. I don't know. It was very important that she had the infinity necklace on. Maybe, you know, every once in a while you go to put a necklace on, it goes the first time. It only happens once to every girl once in her lifetime, and that was her moment.
Yeah, okay. I believe that.
I believe that.
I do want to talk about so they do meet up on the train. Yeah. They have this massive reunion. A lot of beautiful words are shared. Yeah. If you were sitting in the passenger seat near Conrad, you'd be like, this is really cringe.
I feel really awkward right now.
I don't know these people. And then I'd also be freaking out. I was like, does she have a passport? They're on the way to Brussels.
Yeah. Does she have a ticket? Are we about to get detrained? Yeah.
But then the final last scene where she talks about, I didn't go back to Cousins this summer, but I did go again.
Yeah.
So they've either gone back to Cousins the year after or a few years after that. And what I thought was so interesting about this scene was that they're in the beautiful house that we've seen from episode 1, season 1, and they're by themselves.
Yeah.
So we don't actually get that final like justification whether or not the family are on board with this relationship at the end.
Yeah.
It's just the two of them from that whole last episode.
Oh, I took that more to mean that like everyone was so happy and everything because I think they had shown.
But how would you know?
Well, they show that final shot of them all at the dinner party where they're all.
But they're happy together.
Yeah.
They're not happy
but I think
with them.
it's meant to show them in their own world. And the fact that you can't tell, is it the year after, is it 5 years after, is to say that they now exist in this perfect world together forever until the movie.
Well, they were in Cousins by themselves, so maybe they all have on again, off again summers.
Oh, I love you just want the drama.
Belly and Connie get the beach house. We don't want to be there, so we'll go the next summer. And it's
I
Laurel,
don't think it was that.
Adam, Denise, Jeremiah, Laurel's husband on again, off again.
We don't need to know that man's name. I thought it was actually quite a lovely ending. I would have been if the news of the movie hadn't come out, I would have been a bit disappointed and felt like I maybe needed a little bit more. And that I know in the book it kind of ends and there's just like a little epilogue saying that she ends up with Conrad.
Yeah.
So you kind of needed more. But I actually thought this was like quite a lovely ending and it made me very happy that we're coming to the movie.
I'm so excited for the movie. I really don't want to watch it, but I will.
Okay, you will. You've got a year.